Hi, my name is Sam and welcome to my YouTube channel. I've recently been asked to talk about my relationships and I have a video here where I tell you all about what I think about them as someone who hasn't been in a relationship ever. And today I thought I would tell you a couple of fun stories about my non-existent love life. And before we start, it would be great if you could like this video, subscribe to my channel down below, and leave a comment to let me know what you think about relationships in general. And after I filmed the other video about relationships, I realised that I didn't talk about open relationships, and I'm actually glad because I will make a separate video about that topic. Because from what I can see from my friends, there is a lot to say about them. Not all bad things, I know what you're thinking. But yes, now let's get started. So as I mentioned in the other video about my relationships, I am very unlucky and I often meet people here in London that I like, but they're only tourists and I don't really know until I meet them. So obviously then they have to go home and the romance just dies there. Now, I am extremely shy in general and also when it comes to guys, so for me to make the first move in person, that takes a lot of courage for me. And usually when I go clubbing or I go to a pub and I see someone that I like, to the point where I am willing to put myself through the pain of trying to approach them, it usually takes me like 45 minutes to pluck up the courage to do so, and by the time I'm ready, the guy has usually left or found someone else. But so just do bear this in mind. So I think that was before COVID, in 2019 I think. My friend was visiting from Italy, so I took her to a gay pub in central London where they turn the main floor into a bit of a dance floor. It's not a club, it's a pub with danceable music. We went there and we were having a great time and I spotted this guy. Now, I also mentioned in the other video that I don't fancy many guys. It's really hard for me to find people that I physically find attractive, and I just, out of the blue, in the crowd, I found this guy that I really fancied, and I loved the way he danced. I'm a dancer, so I loved the way he moved, because usually people just bob up and down, but he was dancing. And I thought to myself, okay, this is one of those cases where I have to do something, and we kept locking eyes, and he was smiling at me, I was smiling back, which I never do because I'm too shy. So after a while I made the move. Bear in mind my friend who was visiting was there, yeah. He was alone. I thought he was with a few friends because he was dancing with a few girls, but they were just people that he met there and then. I made the first move, and there was a video about German as a language and I love it. So I love German as a language, I love Germans as people, and guess what? He was German, he had blue eyes. I wish I could say he had beautiful hair, but unfortunately he is bald, but actually it turns out that, I never thought about, if the Prince Charming of my dreams is not bald, I have to say, but it turns out I gravitate towards bald guys in the end. I'll take them. So yes, I started talking to him. He was German. He's a dancer, choreographer. Everything that I could possibly want. The problem is that, Germans do tend to live in Germany. So that was a catch. He was only visiting, and I was devastated because I'd made the first move, first of all, which ended up being wasted on nothing. And then, I mean, we had such an electric connection that, but hey, he was only here, I think we met on a Friday, he was only here until Sunday, I think. My friend was here until Sunday morning. So me and my friend wanted to go to Heaven, which is a big gay club here in London. He didn't really know what to do, where to go. He had no plans. So obviously I wanted to be with my friend. I didn't want to be disrespectful, but she said, no, bring him along. So we went to Heaven together. And I felt terrible as it was happening, but also later on, because we basically ignored my friend. But she was the one that pushed me to be with him. So, you know, she started dancing with a girl, and me and him just spent the whole night dancing. It was very weird because we didn't really kiss until much later on, so we just kept sort of holding each other and looking into each other's soul. And then much later on we started kissing, and it was electric. It was amazing. And yes, then obviously what could we do? So he was there for 3 days, and for me that was it, because I'm used to meeting guys like that, and it's very painful. Well, it used to be very painful for me to meet them and then, you know, have a taste and then having to let them go. So I wasn't planning on seeing him again. We exchanged numbers, and then yes, we did see each other again. We saw each other the day after and the day after that in the evening. We never had sex, and I told him specifically that we were not going to have sex because I already liked him too much and I didn't want to suffer anymore by getting even more attached to him. But you know, we kissed and we snogged a lot publicly. We had a lovely walk along the Thames. If you ever come to London, do walk along the Thames during the day because it's beautiful, but also at night it's very romantic. So yes, and it was cold as well because I think it was February. But yes, so we went on a couple of dates. That's all we could do, and I really liked him. And then so I think the plan was to, so I think we went on 3 dates. It was 3, yeah, maybe 3 dates, but I think after the second one we both thought that would be it, because then the day after I think he was either busy or I was busy, something like that. So we weren't sure we were going to see each other again, so we said goodbye. After the second date we went to Tottenham Court Road, which is a very central tube station, and we said goodbye. Yes, I cried a little because I'm a crier, but hey, then we ended up seeing each other again the day after. We managed to make it work, and I mean, nothing hilarious happened. It was just a bit of a bizarre end to the whole thing. We had our date, and then we had to say goodbye again. I think, was it then? No, that was, yeah, no, because then I saw him again the year after, but no. So we went back to Tottenham Court Road, and we knew that was it. That was the end. There was no potential extra date on the horizon. And I don't know what, so Tottenham Court Road is a very busy station, and I think it was like 11:30 on a Sunday, but it was dead. There was absolutely no one. Now, before COVID, I don't know if it's still the case now because I haven't paid attention to it, but before COVID there used to be a piano inside the station, and anyone who can play could, you know, go and have a bit of a play. Now, we were alone, absolutely alone in the station, which again was a bit strange, and me and him were literally glued to each other, you know, again looking into each other's soul and kissing, because that was it. That was it. And he did tell me that, so he comes to London every February. So I was going to see him again the year after, but again, I mean, what's the point? It's just, yeah, very ephemeral love. I was crying so much that I couldn't even see him anymore. I got to the point where I had such a thick film of tears in my eyes that he was literally here. So I was here, he was literally there. I couldn't see him. I couldn't see his eyes. I was crying so much. Oh gosh, these poor men and what I put them through. And this was not the worst. The worst was that, again, it was empty. It was dead. But while I was crying my eyes out, this genius decided to come to the station, sit down at the piano and play Someone Like You, like Adele. Now, I don't think he saw us, so it was just a random song. But I was like, of all the songs that you could be playing, do you really need to play Someone Like You by Adele? And I just kept crying even more. It was pathetic. My boyfriend for the weekend didn't know what to do with himself anymore. I think he was a bit worried that I might pass out of heartache. So yes, that's the kind of love story that, my life is filled with. Then yes, I did see him the year after. To be honest, I didn't want to, because what's the point? And I don't believe in, although I've never been in a relationship, I do not believe in long distance relationships. Also, when after this guy left, I told everyone about him, obviously, and how much I liked him and how much we clicked, but there was never a conversation about him moving here, me moving there. I mean, no, he has his life there, I have my life here. We both knew what the situation was, but everyone kept telling me to go to Germany because he lives close to Dortmund, and there is there is a very cheap Ryanair flight that goes from Stansted to Dortmund, or the closest airport. And they said, you should go, you can go 1 week, you can come here 1 week. And I was like, no, I mean, some people do that, but not us. And again, we never really discussed it. I did check the planes, and it's true. I mean, the flights used to be very, very cheap. Now I haven't looked into that since, but it was never an option. But everyone kept telling me to make this happen, which I found, romantic, but also a little bit delusional, or at least not something that I want. Also, it's not like we were in a relationship and then we had to move for work. We barely knew each other, so for all I knew, he could be a serial killer. So no, it was never meant to be. So I didn't really want to see him because a year had gone by, and if I don't have you physically, I go off you, not in a bad way, but I lose the momentum. That's why I could never have a long distance relationship, because I need you there. I mean, otherwise, what's the point? Not because I want to have sex, but even emotionally, what can you give me through a laptop? So yes, and also because all my love life revolves around meeting these people for 1 or 2 days, and then I suffer a lot afterwards. I didn't want to go through the suffering again. So I told myself, and I told him, that I didn't want to see him. But again, I obviously saw him 3 times, and it was weird, 2 or 3 times, and it was weird because, especially the first time, I was very worried that I might just fall apart like I did the first time. But I didn't, and I think it's because my body, my heart, my soul, my brain, they already knew that, well, they were already immune to the pain, and also they already knew that it was going to be a very quick thing. We never had sex, he tried in a nice way, but I said no, it's not going to happen because I don't want to risk it. Even though I think he's a dancer, and I think I would have enjoyed it a lot. But I'm glad we didn't go there. And then weirdly, so he was here in February 2020 when COVID was breaking out everywhere. So I think he left a couple of days before lockdown. And he told me, we went for dinner, he told me very beautiful things, which made me cry. I didn't cry as much when we left, also because the setup was a bit different. It was so he was waiting for a bus. So yeah, we said goodbye. I cried a little bit, but it was less dramatic. I think he learned his lesson. And then after COVID, I think he came in 2020. He came back in 2023, but by then he'd found a boyfriend because he wanted to keep in touch, and I did. So even after the first time we met, he kept in touch a little bit. He wanted to text, he wanted to have video calls, and I didn't, because I didn't want to get attached to someone that I can't have. But then every now and then I indulged him, and it's not like I didn't like it. But then we got to the point where obviously he found a boyfriend, and of course we talked about the boyfriend, and we talked about how they met, which was lovely. But I was like, I'm sitting here talking to you as the boyfriend that I can't have about the boyfriend that you do have. But that's my love life, that's what I'm given. And then he came in 2023, but he said he was coming with his boyfriend and the mum of the boyfriend, and he still wanted to see me. And I said, as friends obviously, and I said, well, no, because it's one thing if you're single, I can sort of find it in my heart to believe the lie that something could be there. But if you have a boyfriend, I don't need the mockery of that. Not that he meant any malice or harm with it, it's just a mockery of destiny and fate. So we didn't see each other, but we saw each other this year in 2024 because he's single again. But I don't think I will see him again. He never texted me afterwards, and we haven't been in touch because I told him that it was a very bad time for me because I had nothing to give him as a person emotionally, him or anyone else, because I was a bit down about my drag career. So again, he went all out, he treated me like a princess, but I just didn't feel it. And also, had it been a date with a person that I could have had, maybe, but because again it was all almost fake in the sense that he was going to leave soon, yeah, it just didn't work. He was very nice. I actually enjoyed. We spent a whole day together, which I wasn't planning on doing, but in the end I told him, we can start from lunch and then I'll see how I feel. But in the end I gladly spent the whole day with him. So that was one thing. And then that must have been last year in April. Oh my god, as I've already said, I love the Germans, and I live close to Tottenham Hale, which has a direct train to Stansted Airport. So there are a lot of tourists that go through where I live just to go either to the airport or to go to central London. So on my grinder I find a lot of people just passing through, and I saw this guy. Now I knew that he was a tourist because he said on his profile that he was visiting, so there was no surprise there. And it turns out he was German, and from the pictures I really fancied him, but I could tell he was a bit of a dickhead from the kind of pictures I did talk. But I thought, you know what, I have nothing to lose when I'm not looking for love. I will text him expecting him not to text me back, and then he did. And then I thought he would be one of those guys that just give you a one-word answer just because he's on Metro and he doesn't need to give you more. In the end we ended up having a lovely chat, and yeah, it was great. So we tried to meet, but he was here with a friend. I was busy as well, so it was quite hard to meet. And also since he was only here for 5 days, I wanted to meet to have a bit of fun, but he said that he actually preferred meeting to have a chat, and I said, okay, well, I'll take the chat. So we ended up meeting in Hyde Park last April, and oh gosh, he's so tall, he's so handsome, so German. His English is brilliant, and as an English teacher, my brain was extremely excited by how good his English was. But he had lived here before. He still had an accent, which was fine, but his command of the language was brilliant. So my brain was stimulated by for all sorts of reasons. And we had this great chat. We spoke German as well. I loved it, and we really clicked. And as I say in my other video, because I've never been in a relationship, it makes me uncomfortable the very few times that I go on a date to say that, because I'm 32 and I meet people that are 30 plus to go on a date with, and usually normal people will have been in a relationship by then, and it makes me uncomfortable to tell them that, well, to know that I don't even know the basic logistics of a relationship, and I would expect someone, who is 35, 38 to want a potential boyfriend to at least know how that works. So that makes me uncomfortable. He, I think, was 37 at the time. He'd never been in a relationship as well, which was perfect, because I felt like we were literally on the same page. And yeah, we had a great chat. And I had a show afterwards, so we met in the afternoon, but I had a show afterwards, so I had to leave at 6ish. And it was weird, because while we were talking on Grindr, things got quite steamy, and I really fancied him and all of that, and we kept saying, I wish you were here so we could do this, we could do that. But then again, we only met for a chat, so we couldn't do any of that. But I was really attracted to him, and I really liked him. But I am terrible at flirting because I have no experience. So while we were lying on this little blanket in the park, I tried to sort of touch his leg every now and then, very, very briefly, just to show him that I fancied him and I wasn't repulsed by him. But maybe I didn't make my interest clear enough, because then we had this lovely chat, nothing physical happened, not even a kiss, and then I will regret this forever. We then walked to the station, because I don't know where he was going, but I had to go back home. And then while we were walking, I think he'd eaten onions or something like that. So while we were walking, he said, "Oh, I hope my breath doesn't smell," because he said he said that he was worried before meeting me. He was worried that his breath might smell because he'd eaten onions. And as a joke, I said, "Well, good job, I'm not going to kiss you anyway." It was a joke, yeah. So we get to the station, and that's the one thing I don't like about London, saying goodbye at the station, especially if it's a date, because you're either both on the train and one of you has to get out, or you're there on your way into the station with people walking past you. It's definitely not romantic. But we went to the station and we had to say goodbye. Now, I wanted to kiss him. I was desperate to kiss him, because I wasn't going to get any more than that anyway, but I really liked him in every possible way, and I really wanted to kiss him. Now, he is tall. I think he's almost like twice my size, yeah. But because he hadn't reciprocated any kind of physical connection that I gave him at the park, even though it was very small, and I could feel that something was a bit off. I didn't think he fancied me that much anymore, which is fine. What you see in the pictures is different from what you see in reality. So I thought, okay, I'll just go for a normal hug. But then it was very awkward, because I was hoping for a kiss, but I could tell that he just wanted a hug. And literally, so this was me, this was him, so he literally had to bend almost in half to come and hug me, and it was the most awkward hug ever, and I really thought, oh gosh, you really did not like me that much after all, which again is fine. It's no one's fault. So that was it. So we said goodbye, and then I thought, you know what, I have nothing to lose, so I will text him to say that I actually wanted to kiss him, but I didn't feel that he wanted it. And he said, no, I really wanted to kiss you too, but because you just said that you were not going to kiss me anyway, I thought that was your very clear hint that you were not interested. And to this day, I'm so angry and furious because it was a joke, and I said, I'm a drag queen, I'm making jokes. And also, I am brutal and I am very honest and I can't lie, but if I genuinely hadn't wanted to kiss him, I don't think I would have said anything, because that would have been very hurtful. So for me, even the fact that I uttered the words meant that it was a joke. And because of the way, again, I tried to show him a bit of interest, the very poor way that I could, I thought it was obvious that I was intrigued. But he took it literally, and then everyone told me that the Germans have no sense of humour, and, you know, everyone attacks the Germans all the time. So we never kissed because I blew it. I literally blew it with a joke. So yes, and then we stayed in touch every day for a while, and although as I said earlier, I don't particularly like it because there's no point in, you know, deluding yourself that something will come of it, it was so natural, and I really wanted it, and he wanted it as well. But then obviously after a while things fizzled out. But yeah, I can't believe I didn't even get to give him a kiss because of a terrible joke that I made. But hey, okay, so that was just a cheerful little video, and next time we will talk about open relationships, so brace yourselves for that. And yeah, let me know what you think, if you have any funny stories, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.